喂 ，Hello， 早晨啊，大家萬聖節快樂。早晨 Mono， 早晨 Jarvis， 早晨天恒，早晨 Debby， 早晨 Yuki， 早晨阿 Yu， 早晨 Daylight， 把聲好細，等等啊，而家咧，應該 OK 個噃，睇下先。早晨 Cindy， 早晨九叔，早晨 Leo，Hello， 今日試下開雙平台，係咯。雖然我諗應該即係效果應該都不大。我冇事啦，我復活啦。如果我唔好返嘅話，佢唔會俾我出院噶。我已經復活啦，大家。我咪應該要分享一下我點解會入院俾大家聽。我俾大家睇下我下個禮拜個 timetable 先。嗱，咁樣咧，我有呢個禮拜三咧，我安排一個雜談啦，我會開一個健康反省大會，要反省下自己身體健康點解咁差，跟住到時候我哋就可以一齊再長談點解我又入醫院啦，跟住我又應該要制定啲咩健康計劃俾自己。咁等我 share 下點解我今次入院先啦。咁話說咧，大家都知噶啦，賭大人咧就好中意半夜做嘢噶嘛。咁我唔記得咗啦，睇下先。我幾多號咧？喺禮拜日嚟嘅。禮拜日咧，係咪啊？禮拜日27號係啦。27號咧，咁我咧就喺度整今個禮拜嗰啲嘢啦，即係。整 OBS 啊，跟住整 setting， 跟住睇下可以點樣隻 game 可唔可以有嗰啲即係嗰啲叫咩防裸體模式咧？因為即係呢隻 game 咧，咁大家睇到 title 都知啦，佢話叫做咩鬼嘢咩話驗屍模擬器。咁佢咧係直頭，即係佢係真係一個裸體嘅屍體，跟住然之後俾我劏咁樣咯。咁如果要直播隻 game 嘅話，咁應該要有一個防裸體，即係要有一個點講好啊？即係有馬賽克咁樣噶嘛。咁我就走咗去 check 下啲 game， 即係走咗去 check 下呢啲有冇嗰啲防裸體模式啦。咁我總之都係喺度整呢啲嘢啦。咁然後我又諗，咁我又睇投票啦，睇大家投票，即係我喺 DC 度開咗投票嘅，咁就俾大家揀話到底，今個禮拜想睇咩台啦，跟住同埋又問咗會員會唔會想睇上年我嗰個萬聖節企劃嘅嘅呢個後續古仔啦。咁本身嗰晚咧諗住整嗰個後續古仔嘅。咁點知我就突然之間肚痛啦，咁一開始我都冇理嘅，因為平時我都好容易肚痛啦。咁我就自己食保濟丸啦，跟住飲下水咁啊，咁就由得佢啦。咁我一路整嘢啦，咁我整到朝早6、7點喎，跟住咧就諗住好啦瞓覺啦，跟住點知搞唔掂喎，一瞓落張床嗰度咧個肚咧就開始勁痛咯。係即係喺肚臍周圍嗰度揦住咁樣痛咯。睇下先。早啊，你好啊，魔神諾亞大帝，你係咪改咗名啊？你之前佢話你之前咧有嚟過個 channel 嗰度噶，跟住但係咧，但係我唔認得有一個嗱，我唔認得你個 ID 咯。 等我繼續講先，我講到邊度啊？咁總之我瞓咗落張床之後，咁我肚臍周圍開始痛啦。咁我就心諗奇怪啦，咁因為我同屋企人食嗰啲嘢都係一樣噶嘛，咁佢哋冇事，咁冇理由我會出事噶嘛。咁跟住我就算啦，唔理啦，諗住瞓一陣，跟住搓下個肚就應該瞓得着。點知越嚟越痛喎，跟住我就心諗唔得啦，我可能去廁所睇一下會唔會屙到啦。跟住點知一去到廁所咧，即係我行咗幾步由我個房行出廁所，跟住行幾步咧就已經痛到癲咗咯。即係我本身平時係一個即係 Hello Happy 早晨啊！我而家唔係早晨，都唔係早晨。萬聖節快樂！我喺度講緊我到底做乜嘢。咁跟住總之我行咗幾步，跟住話痛到飛起，痛到癲咗啊！平時咧我嚟 M， 即係我嚟 M 我都係有 M 痛嗰啲。我又係有 M 痛嗰啲人嚟嘅，咁但係佢嗰個肚痛個痛咧係仲要痛過 M 痛嗰啲痛咯，因為即係我真係好容易有病痛嗰啲啦，咁我自己本身對痛都已經有啲麻木啦，即係我係可以好忍到痛嗰啲人咯，跟住點知呢個肚痛係難忍到忍唔到喎，咁我喺廁所咧，我係點講好咧？我係個人咧攣咗落個馬桶上面咯。我咁樣講好似講到好核突咁樣，但係我唔知，但係即係唔係你哋諗嘅個人跌咗落個馬桶入邊咯，係我哋屋企個馬桶係有長期閂住嘅，即係我就攣咗喺個馬桶蓋上面啦吓，咁跟住我就哇好痛喎，黐線啦！心諗發生咩事啊？呢世都冇試過肚痛可以痛成咁嘅喎，係啊，跟住咧我就打開翻咁我痛咗一陣啦，捲成個人縮即係好似條蟲咁攣埋咗一陣之後，跟住唔係啊，我就係覺得我咁講，你哋會覺得我跌咗落個馬桶入邊咯，我唔係跌咗落個馬桶入邊啊。總之我咧個人咧就攣埋咗好似條蟲咁啊，跟住我啊頂唔順啦。咁因為7-8點啊，屋企人阿雀媽咁翻工啦，咁然後雀爸係因為退咗休，咁佢應該未瞓醒嘅，咁我勁痛啦。跟住我就打開廁所門，跟住我自己爬出去個客廳嗰度，好似條蟲咁爬出去個客廳嗰度咯。跟住我就挨住喺我雀媽張凳嗰度啦，因為我屋企冇 sofa 嘅，咁就客廳就擺咗阿雀媽個書台咁樣，咁我挨咗喺佢嗰個書台凳嗰度啦。總之係啦，咁跟住我唔知我自己挨咗幾耐啊，跟住我就阿雀爸就醒咗，跟住佢就問我做咩啊？咁我咧嗰陣時候已經痛到咧唔係好想講嘢，又唔係好想喐啦。咁總之我就係我自己都唔係好記得我係點同佢講話我肚痛定唔知點樣啦。咁佢又問我要唔要去呢個急症啦。咁本身係諗住佢話我唔可以講個醫院名，我一講醫院名大家就會知我住喺邊，因為總之佢本身係想去私家醫院嘅。咁咧就話我哋可能行落去搭車咁樣啦，跟住我係行都行唔到啊，痛喺地下完全唔想喐咯。之後就係啦，因為即係大家即係雀爸都年事已高啦，雖然佢內功深厚係啦，同埋如果即係會員就知，不過大家唔係會員就唔知佢之前幾日即係煮飯嗰陣切菜啊，整親隻手咁樣啦，所以就都冇辦法可以孭我咁樣啦，係啦，孭唔到我噶啦。咁啊，真係最後 call 白車，我人生第2次搭呢個白車，笑死！係啊，白車，我咪應該要繼續 share 我個故仔，好長黐線。等陣先，我開風扇。總之你哋而家見到我咁即係咁生龍猛虎，就知道我冇事噶啦。有，咦？點解我開唔到嘅個風扇？開到啦，希望唔會傳到啲風扇聲入嚟啦。係啦，咁 call 白車，跟住我唔知等咗幾耐，嗰啲人咧係即係嗰啲 嗰啲叫咩？嗰啲救護員咧係行入嚟，跟住問我邊度痛啊？幾時開始痛啊？點解做咩？係咪食錯嘢？咁應該就唔係食錯嘢啦，但係因為我哋全家人食嘅嘢都一樣，跟住但係得我一個咁樣係冇可能噶嘛。咁總之就抬咗我上輪椅係啦，然之後我就喺架輪椅嗰度俾佢哋搬上架白車，跟住我哋就 B 步去咗呢個最近嘅醫院嘅急症室咯。咁大家都眾所周知嘅啦，公立醫院嘅急症室咧係啦，因為白車嘅話，私家醫院其實係有啲私家醫院有白車，有啲冇啦。咁我哋最後即係最後阿雀巴就係真係叫咗公立醫院嘅白車嚟車我去嗰個急症室。咁去到急症室之後咧，咁就等咯，係由朝等到晏咯。我好似咧見醫生嗰陣時候咧，已經係見醫生嘅時候係3-4點咯，係咯，明明叫急症咯，跟住但係急症係由朝早等到夜晚咯，黐線咯，真係黐線。跟住我中途咧，我又本身可能有會員知嘅，咁就我自己都要有啲長期藥食開，咁啊幫我瞓覺啦。咁我一路瞓一路又痛又瞓又痛又瞓咁樣，跟住等到4-5點先睇到個醫生啦。咁其實中途都係急症等勁耐咯。其實都香港醫院個急症都唔知個急症都唔應該叫急症，黐線。係啊，我分流咧，咁其實佢有分流嘅，佢係分綠色、黃色同埋呢個紅色嘅。咁我諗佢應該係分我去綠色啦，因為見我冇屙冇嘔嗰啲係啦。咁就總之就等啦。中途就做咗一堆嘢，又驗血啦，又督血糖啦，又驗尿咁樣啦。咁最後就幫我打咗支止痛針喎，係啦。D.C. 有蟲嚟。後邊係咪聽住我講話，好似條蟲咁樣攣喺個地下嗰度，跟住就變咗好慘啊！好慘啊！點算啊？我見到你張圖啦，好慘啊！笑死！唉，下次要扮暈，講真。冇啊，希望唔好希望有下次，我哋希望冇下次先啦，好冇？黐線，係啦，咁打咗支止痛針，跟住點知驗血咁打咗支止痛針之後，我開始就冇咁痛啦，咁啊開始OK 啦，可以休息下咁樣啦。係啊，冇下次啊，真係冇下次。係啦，咁點知個驗血報告出嚟咧，係啲數字係超級非常之唔好睇。係啦，咁佢就個醫生就話我個白血球嗰啲數字咧好高喎，高成點佢又冇話俾我聽，但係佢淨係話俾我聽好高喎。咁會員都知啦，本身我其實即係之前都已經要即係定期驗血㗎啦。咁我驗血本身我肝嗰啲指數都好差喎，跟住總之而家啲嘢就係超級差，跟住勁差同埋好差咯。我除咗咁形容之後，形容唔到俾你哋聽係點樣。白血球大嘈，係啊，真係啊，嗰個好多白血球，而家有勁多個靚仔，唔係而家係嗰陣時候有勁多個靚仔喺我嘅身體入邊。唔係，其實咦，等陣先，我咁講好似有啲奇怪，有好多個靚仔喺我身體入邊。不過唔緊要啊。係啊，咁總之就話要留院觀察咁樣啦吓。咁係啊，我咪要繼續 share 呢個故仔，好長喎，但係黐線，好黐線咯，我想講。咁冇啊，其實最痛除咗嗰陣時候即係肚痛之外咧，就係嗰啲鹽水痘嗰啲咯。咁因為大家都知佢係即係佢咧係篤嗰粒豆咧，咁嗰個原理係佢唔係針咁樣，你哋當佢係一支好幼嘅管咁樣啦，咁就插喺你嘅手指嘅血管嗰度啦。然之後咁就啲醫生攞嚟吊藥或者吊鹽水入去你嘅身體度啦。 係啦，咁會咁做嘅原因係通常都係嗰啲禁食啊，又或者係嗰啲人身體虛弱到即係唔可以用口服藥嚟搞掂佢。點講好咧？同埋即係經血咧，即係經血入用啲藥由血入嘅話，係會最快去到佢嗰個身體嘅器官咁樣啦，咁就會係快過口服啦。有啲呢個有啲複雜啊，我唔詳細解釋啦。咁我就吊鹽水吊咗一晚，係啊，黐線，我可以留翻星期三講啊，係啊，總之我就冇事啦，係啊，我冇事啦，而家我喺度，係啦，我喺度就係同大家講，我冇事啊，我已經可以，我出咗院啦，我冇事啦，係啊，就係咁啦，我復活噶啦，我可以繼續生龍活虎地呢個直播咯，好似剔嘢咁。咩叫剔嘢？剔嘢即係咩啊？毒品啊？係笑死蟲蟲。阿 B 手速超快，玩咗蟲蟲，救命啦！入血爽得仲快，係啊！總之我就係係啦，我都好問好自己嘅。咁其實我覺得個原因點解我會咁樣呢？我覺得係因為我自己壓力太大咯。呢排我記得我嗰日咧係仲要話咩？我發夢話咩見到640訂，跟住突然之間就跌到得返515啊嘛！我發夢都可以夢到啲同訂閱數啊，係啊，龍精虎猛，唔好意思啊，我係一個離開咗呢個教科書之後，我啲四字成語就俾翻晒我中文老師嘅人。係我啱啱講到邊啊？係啊，總之應該係壓力太大啦，係啦，就係咁咯，係啊。Hello， 早晨啊 Simon， 我已經分享完萬聖節快樂，我已經分享完我嘅入院故事。大草下先，我哋可以開始我哋今日嘅呢個遊戲。咁我咧啱啱本身想 delete 咗嗰啲檔案咧，咁睇下可唔可以由頭開始俾大家睇咧，嗰個流程嘅，跟住但係咧好似唔係好得咯，我唔識點樣 delete 嗰個檔案，因為你大家可能即係因為試下 Steam 咧嗰啲嘢都已經係。可唔可以俾我 detect 到隻 game？ 唔好咁咯。牛雜模擬器，牛雜模擬器即係咩啊？我唔係好明。睇下先，而家有畫面未呢？好似都未有畫面，跟住我加翻個聲入去先，有冇呢？有啦，應該有啦。我唔知佢應該要點樣先至可以 delete 到，可以刪除，可以。咁我哋就直接開一個新遊戲，因為我本身呢，我即係諗住，即係睇下佢會唔會有嗰啲打格仔嗰啲咯。Hello， 早晨你好啊 ，KLC， 你同 KC 個名淨係爭咗一個字母咯。啱啱分享完我哋嘅入院故事，跟住我而家就嚟呢個補翻呢個禮拜一個台。牛雜係一堆內臟，即係你玩緊嘅 game 都係等於解剖人哋，然後拎啲內臟出嚟。原來係咁。其實牛雜嘅話，我淨係識好少嘅咋。牛雜我淨係識牛柏葉啦，跟住仲有啲咩牛胃啊？唔係喎，牛柏葉同埋牛胃好似係同一個部位嚟喎，係咪啊？咁我牛雜好似淨係識呢個牛柏葉啫喎。 謝謝 BB 解說，好搞笑咯。咁耐嘅，係咪因為我 delete 咗佢嗰個 file， 所以佢會撈耐啲？咁大家可以唔使擔心啦。嗰一日咧，禮拜一嘅禮拜日嘅半夜啊咧，定係話應該話禮拜一嘅朝早，總之我就 check 過噶啦。佢有嗰個馬賽克嘅，係啦。雖然我唔知女性嘅胸部有冇啦嚇，但係希望佢有啦。如果冇嘅話，就有啲危險咯。我之前玩暴雨嗰陣都已經有，不過我之前玩暴雨嗰陣咧係都有試過唔小心，佢嗰個叫咩？嗰個好暴露嘅身體部分佢係出現咗，跟住但係我都好似冇被 YT 黃標。
Office of the Medical Examiner,
咁我哋就睇呢個啦。
Dr. Jack Hanman is speaking. How can I help you?
Good evening, this is Kate Brooks. I'm not sure if you remember me. A few weeks ago, we talked about an article
Hello,
I'm working
Tom.
on. It's about your wife. I dropped by last Friday to speak to you, but you weren't working at the time. I asked the security guard to pass on a note for me. I would like us to discuss the topic of...
I thought I had made it painfully obvious for the last time. No! Please don't call me again and stop inquiring about my wife. Damn journalists. They don't let me work.
萬聖節唔快樂，點解啊？
I'm not in the best frame
唔
of
緊要
mind to
啦，
record
你
a
唔
lecture
快
for
樂，
my
我
students
帶
now.
快樂俾你啊！
I'm feeling completely
咁我玩咗少少嘅，咧，
What have
咁
we got
佢咧
next this
係
time?
應該係一個主要佢係一個法醫啦，咁然之後佢
I
老
guess
婆
it
咧
was
就
another life.
game 聲大過我把聲啊，等等啊，係咩？人聲要大翻啲啲。而家 game 聲冇喎，因為而家我有啲校唔到，等陣先校細翻少少先。我睇下一陣間再校啊，要有個 game 要有聲，我先至知道自己把聲係點樣。而家 OK 嘛？咁樣，你哋話俾我聽。咁我繼續講啦，佢老婆咧係死咗嘅，唔知咩事死咗啦。但係咁佢呢個驗屍模擬器佢係有劇情嘅，咁就我哋個主角即係我哋咧係一個法醫啦。咁我配合翻呢個今日嘅遊戲，所以我就着咗呢一個醫生袍，染血醫生袍。睇下先，我記得應該係咁樣，我就會雙眼失去高光。我而家死咗老婆，所以我嘅雙眼就失去咗高光。而家應該好啲了吧？如果一陣間都係太大的話，你哋就再同我講。
Wednesday. It's not my favorite day, although it's certainly better than
咁我
Monday.
哋可以調查佢台面啲嘢嘅。
They definitely pay me too little for this.
咁呢個就係啱啱嗰個打電話俾佢嗰個記者啦。咁唔知佢老婆係做咗啲咩啦。總之就佢老婆死咗嘅係。咁其實呢度冇乜嘢睇啊。
It would be good to finally repair the coffee machine.
我哋就跟住佢左上角嗰個任務做就得㗎啦。佢話去呢個洗手間揾我嘅藥。咁我哋呢度呢個咧係一個點講好啊？可以咩話？可以了 ，OK。啱啱 Luton 話唔快樂啊！我嗱睇我嘅台啊，我帶快樂俾你哋。雖然我唔知呢隻 game 快唔快樂。睇下先 ，Out of Order 呢個係咩嚟㗎 ？Social Room。
Let's hope I'm not caught short this evening.
呢個係咩
This
房？
place is starting to look like a hoarder's dream.
哦，呢個係 storage。咁我哋去廁所 bathroom。OK。難得我係有腳㗎咯，我想講笑死。因為呢第一人稱視覺嘅遊戲咧，成日都冇腳㗎嘛。睇下先，廁所咁大聲嘅。Out of order does not work。而家落老蘭，就快落了。老蘭係咩啊？蘭桂坊啊！我未試過萬聖節去蘭桂坊咯。 8點半失業金，咩叫失業金啊
Okay, time to pull myself together.
？OK， 總之我哋食咗個藥先。8點半失業金係咩嚟？唔好意思啊，因為我唔係好睇新聞。8點半。呢個失業金係咩嚟㗎？第一位你想講6合彩啊？香港好似冇失業金呢樣嘢喎，我而家查就係見到美國同台灣有嘅啫喎。係呢個係咩嚟㗎？呢個有把梳問號。
I need to set the camera first.
從儲藏室裏把攝影機拿出來，我哋啱啱已經去過一次儲藏室啦。好，咁我哋就
Now remember, Jack, don't forget hit the record button this time.
窗外嘅景色都係呢個日頭嚟嘅，可唔可以行快啲？好似唔得咯，我呢個步速有啲慢，可能因為部機重。
Hopefully the new tripod is going to hold up.
OK， 嗱，呢個就係呢個就係我哋今日要解剖嘅第一具屍體。咁咩係失業金啊？同埋 PCE 係咩嚟㗎？我唔係好明你講咩咯，湯。雖然島大人係1001歲，但係島大人係1000歲之前呢，都係喺呢一個神社入邊度過，所以唔係好明人類世界嘅呢啲咁嘅名詞。
Recording for medical students from the University of Missouri. This autopsy is conducted by Jack Hanman. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the autopsy room. Today, you will have the dubious pleasure of following a full autopsy, step by step. For those of you who have already performed your first autopsy, this will refresh your basic knowledge. In turn, for those whose knowledge is only theoretical, I advise not to watch this after a meal.
都幾好人，我哋呢個男主角叫大家唔好食完飯之後睇。大家食咗飯未㗎？我未食，我就未食嘅，因為我屋企就習慣喺呢一個10點等埋屋企人翻晒嚟先至會食嘅。OK， 咁我就放心啦。
Always wear an apron, mask, and gloves. Goggles are a must when the job is splashy, and in case of sharp accidents,
要見血啦，要
it's
見
worth
血啦，
having
大家。
disinfectants at hand. It's true that you won't get ptomaine poisoning straight away, but if your liver or kidney aren't doing well, you may end up with diarrhea.
原來屍體係有屍毒呢樣嘢，我都係第一次先知。
The cadaver is placed on its back on the autopsy table.
不過又好似係屍毒嘅意思，應該即係佢開始即係佢腐爛咧，咁會有嗰啲病毒噶嘛，屍體嘅話，咁所以就會有呢個屍毒咯，係咪啊
？In the process of revealing and securing forensic evidence, it is difficult not to interfere with the original condition of the deceased. Written and photographic documentation plays a vital role throughout the entire examination process.
Debby 而家開始食飯，咁你係咪一路食飯一路睇我解剖啊？
Inquisitive, but above all, attentive to detail. Many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes they can be cover for more.Interesting stories. 你話俾我聽，咁你可以作為呢個觀眾嘅總代表話俾我哋聽，一路食飯一路睇人解剖屍體，會唔會令到你更加可以幫助你食飯 ？Now onto the police folder.
Police
that will contain
folder.
all sorts of pertinent information as to who the deceased might be and what potentially happened to them. So, let's take a closer look, shall we?
Police folder 係咪呢個
Some of my previous cases, a reminder of more prosperous times.I wasn't sure it would amount to anything.
冬日我想講好搞笑喎，呢個冬日同屍體係同處一個房間，唔驚俾啲病毒污染咩？等先啊 ！Police folder 喺邊啊？有冇人可以幫下我 ？Police folder 呢個唔係啦，呢個 police。 police folder 喺邊度咁？呢個垃圾桶。哦。哎，呢度啦，哎。OK。
The deceased's name is Tobias Chambers, locally known as Old Toby. Homeless enough, signs of libation were found around the body. Empty bottles, traces of an inept attempt to start a fire, and a scattered makeshift blanket.
OK， 睇嚟呢一個死者係一個流浪漢。
He worked most of his life at the local port dealing with unloaded cargo. He was fired for being drunk and starting fights. His son runs a hardware store on his own. His wife left him years ago. They both had no contact with the deceased. The body was noticed by a station employee during the morning shift. Initially, he thought that someone had thrown some boots and a coat in a nearby ditch. It took him a moment to recognize the pile of clothes as the body of a man.
多謝你，萬聖節快樂啊！
The deceased was found on the outskirts of a parking lot at a gas station, where he often begged and persistently offered drivers to wash their car windows. That's it. It's worth remembering the context around the scene of a death. This allows you to better interpret any traces found on the body. I shouldn't start the procedure without gloves.
手套，誒，係咪？呢個唔係喎，呢個係 eye washer 嚟喎。 手套，貓哥，係啊，真係解剖。手套喺邊啊？迷路咯！我想講，我自己喺自己嗰個解剖室入邊迷路啊！手套，誒呢度。
Now it's our turn to take some pictures for our files. If I can just remember where I left the camera. It's in here somewhere.
Like 成條魚咁。唔係啊，我都成日肚痛㗎，但係我有個保濟丸啊嘛，我係諗住即係自己有保濟丸應該冇事咯。睇先咩啊？拍立得相機。
Some of my previous cases.
喺呢度。
There you are. I knew it was here somewhere. As I mentioned at the beginning, before we begin the internal examination, we need to document the cadaver and the condition it arrived in. We begin with a full body photo. Try and stick to the top-down rule. But this is not always possible. Let's keep in mind it's all about the legibility, not the perfect frame.
"尋日返工肚痛3鑊，今日肚痛。哦，去睇啦。如果自己搞唔掂，嗰啲。 即係自己食成日搞唔掂的話咧，咁就要睇醫生睇下先。我啱啱見到佢呢個。椰菜汁，花椰菜唔係會呢個肚屙嘅咩？隻手係嘛
？Hardened hands, worn out by physical work and frostbite.
OK， 個頭嗰度好似有啲，頭嗰度呢個頭有啲撞傷咁樣。高麗菜，等先，影唔到嘅點解？係咪呢個角度唔啱？ 影唔到喎， 我啱啱係點影啊？個圈唔係變白色就可以影噶啦咩？應該要縮放係咪
？That's something interesting. It will be necessary to check whether this injury was severe enough to cause damage to the brain.
我哋仲有一張，仲有啲咩位要影？而家我想講咧，明明呢個台咧係喺度劏緊條屍體咧，跟住但係咧你哋係可以講食物講得咁開心。誒呢個位啱啦。
The boiler healed wound looks old. I'll take a closer look later.
Okay.
In a moment, we will check which of our initial observations will be worthy of further consideration.
山羊模擬器，我有聽過，應該我好似有睇過阿神玩，將照片釘在照片板上，係咪呢度？誒呢度，head, feet, stomach, wound, hand, general 。又好似都係，好似講得啱。OK， 開始解剖啦，我哋要終於進入呢個戲肉。啊先，要點樣樣㗎？呢刀嗰啲喺邊度拎
？It's been a while since the eye wash in this thing was changed. It's probably a health hazard now. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife.
唔係喎，係撳佢。
I guess I forgot to clean the knife.
托比亞斯前白斯62歲男性白人，1991年11月20日下午9點37分，76 kg 175 cm， 未穿着衣物。1991年11月17日下午10點至12點。Okay.
So enough of the boring prep. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the spots I photographed earlier. For this, you're going to need a magnifying glass.
用放大鏡檢查需要注意嘅地方。
Which spot first?
我哋由頭睇到腳啦。
I can confirm the presence of ecchymosis on the deceased man's head. The appearance indicates the intravital nature of the wound. Add alcohol, which I can clearly smell, and this was an accident just waiting to happen. It looks like a burn mark, no doubt painful, but it's not pertinent for this case.
唔打碼嘅話，我呢個台咪會黃標咯，大家。
Here we can see frostbite on the fingertips. We can tell by the characteristic skin color. 唔知大家有冇即係親人，即係屋企人，即係最後見過屋企人最後一面啦。咁我有見過我阿婆最後一面嘅。咁手指同腳咧，即係都同呢個都真係咁樣樣嘅。 So far, there are a lot of superficial wounds, but only one serious injury.
我知你有。
Let's go back to our notes.
切咗佢就唔使打㗎。在寫字版的人體模型上標出之前發現嘅4處傷痕。
I marked the location of the injury, even though this type of wound didn't contribute to the head wound. Definitely an important clue.
可能因為大家都對呢個屍體有興趣咧，大家都想萬聖節嘅時候即係睇呢個一路睇住我劏呢個屍體，跟住一路食飯，係咪？
As you can see, we don't have much to go on. Let's write down what preliminary causes of death we can think of.
可能死因，我覺得睇下先，個頭呢個喺邊度？呢個
Various types of accidents are a common cause of death among the homeless and the elderly. Perhaps old Toby slipped and accidentally hit his head. This is of no interest to us.
呢個喺邊度？呢個
Considering the conditions in which he slept, his body may have become hypothermic. The nights have been particularly nasty lately. We will check if there are any signs of freezing internally.
會黑色
Since
萎
the
縮
deceased
晒。
clearly smelled of alcohol, I'll add alcohol poisoning to our list.
酒精。
We still have one thing left from the basics: rigor mortis.
屍僵要點樣檢查？
Well, we take our deceased by the hand. Gradually we raise it.
咦唔係，去到呢度。
Now let it go. As you can see, the hand falls loose. What's the conclusion? Death must have occurred more than 72 hours ago. The police information appears correct. Head trauma seems the most promising, so we'll start there. For this, I need an oscillating saw. The cut is made from ear to ear.
除咗除咗生殖器有打碼之外，呢啲應該冇打碼啦。大家不適嘅話，請離開。係啦，不適真係不適嘅話，請離開。檢查大腦，開始徹底分析此器官。
After the basic examination, we can see that the brain's cerebral gyri in both hemispheres are symmetric. The brain looks good. Let's take a cross-section.
Cross-section 要點樣睇啊？
Some pathologists prefer to examine organs without removing them. However, for me, it's much more convenient to examine them on a board, which we'll do now.
Okay.
Holding a long, narrow blade knife in the dominant hand, we slowly cut the cranial nerves on both sides, all the time pulling the brain towards us.
OK 喂，都唔容易喎！想講，我本身諗住呢個應該會好容易喎呢隻 game， 因為啲人話5個鐘左右可以玩晒佢個劇情模式。
The hematoma seems to have had no effect on the brain. We can rule the fatal accident out as well. Brain is in good condition, so we have no choice
最恐怖
but to
嘅1
proceed
到
to
9
the
鐘
internal
賽。
examination of the other organs. I grab a scalpel from my kit.
解剖刀。
The incision should be in the shape of a letter Y. We use a deep cut to reach all the way to the ribs and to penetrate the abdominal wall. All right, now we peel back and separate the skin.
OK。
Now, we need to remove the ribs. We'll need the loppers for this.
骨剪。
Quite a satisfying crunch, for some anyway. After removing the cartilage tissue, we instantly notice 2 things. Firstly, there is no congestion of the internal organs. This means that although the deceased was hypothermic, it didn't kill him. Secondly, the deceased smoked like a chimney. So, we should take a closer look at those lungs. We can see widespread black. Despite the tragic condition of the lungs, they are not the cause of death. Alice smoked too. It didn't kill her, but... what was I talking about? Lungs. Yes. Advanced inflammation. What now? The syringe. Now's a good time to collect some samples.
Syringe.
Specifically 3. From the eye, the heart, and the bladder. I'm interested to see the concentration of alcohol in the body. 5 milliliters from the left ventricle should do it.
咁我哋咪擺喺同一支針筒度咯。選擇注射器。我咪要啊？唔係好明。點解抽唔到嘅？有冇人可以幫下我？抽唔到啊！誒，點解嘅？我長按緊㗎，而家都長按緊。但係佢應該係佢圈住嘅嗰啲位。佢話膀胱同埋嚇唔係啊，呢個望落係似嗰個心室嗰啲，點解咁樣嘅？係咪有筆啊
？It's been a while since the eye wash in this thing was changed. It's probably a health hazard now. Scalpel, scissors, syringe, magnifying glass, knife. I guess I forgot to clean the knife.
我而家係長撳緊，但係佢冇反應，點解？我哋驗屍都卡關喎，點算啊？可能北咗啊！我哋眼睛喎，但係佢唔係啊，佢3個位噶嘛。佢話心、眼睛同埋呢一個膀胱。我哋試下退出個存檔，跟住再入多次，跟住睇下得唔得？內臟抽咗啦，啱啱已經，可能係北咗咧。 佢開頭呢啲冇得 skip 咯，大家要忍耐一下。我查下攻略先或者。
Office of the Medical Examiner, Petersville. Dr. Jack Hanman is
係咪要由頭開始？
Good evening, this is Kate Brooks.
好似要由頭開始啊，消息。
A few weeks ago, we talked about an article I'm working on. It's about your wife. I dropped by last Friday to speak to you, but you weren't working at the time. I asked the security guard to pass on a note for me. I would like us to discuss the topic of...
I thought I had made it painfully obvious for the last time. No! Please don't call me again and stop inquiring about my wife. Damn journalists. They don't let me work. God damn it. I'm not in the best frame of mind to record a lecture for my students now. I'm feeling...
OK， 唔緊要，我哋由頭開始。
Where did I leave my meds this time?
我哋今次
Okay.
可以略過，唔緊要。
And get back to work. I need to set up the camera first. This place is... Hopefully the new tripod is going to hold up.
係，我哋又見面啦。
Now, I just have to get everything in frame. This should be fun. November 20th. Recording this. Hello, everyone. Today, for the Let's start. Always got at it. The cadet, but make like... In the process, it is written during men and room. Now, onto the police folder. That will contain all sorts of pertinent information as to who the deceased might... The deceased... Sam... His son... That's it. It's worth remembering the context around the scene of a death. This allows you to better interpret any traces, especially... If I can just remember... Aha! There you are. As I mentioned before we begin, let's... Voila. Now we move. Take your time. Look at your look.
人哋玩就得。
Boiler yield. Oh. So more probably. Pardon, Ross.
啱啱影到㗎，而家又影唔到嘅。要咁樣。
That's... It will... In a moment, but... Personal information as evidence. So, let's... Which spot first? I can that. It looks like no. Here we can see if we can. Definitely a old. So far, there are a lot of slits. First, I marked the location, the head wound. Even though this were not in frost season, if Toby's body was the safe as let's various perhaps we still have one thing left from the basics. Rigor mortis. Well, we take our deceased by the hand, gradually re-raise it. Now let it go. As you can see, what's the conclusion? Death must have occurred. The police. Head trauma seems the most promising, so we'll start there. For this, I need an oscillating saw. The cut is made from ear to ear. After which, we remove the skin and the top of the skull. After the basic examination, some pathologists prefer to examine organs without removing them. However, for me, it's much more convenient to examine them on a board, which we'll do now. Holding a long, narrow blade knife in the dominant hand, we slowly cut the cranial nerves on both sides, all the time pulling the brain towards us. So far, so good. We can rule the fatal axe. Brain isn't good, but I grab a scalpel from my kit. The incision should be in the shape of a letter Y. We use a deep cut. All right. Now we peel back and separate the skin.
等陣先啊，徒手掀起皮膚。
Now we need to remove.
呢個。
Quite a satisfying crunch, for some anyway. We can see widespread, despite the tragic condition of the lung. Alice, what now? The syringe, specifically 3. From the eye, vitreous humor analysis is very useful in indicating long-term alcohol abuse. 5 milliliters from the left ventricle should do it. Now from the bladder, we draw about 10 milliliters of fluid. Now we take our samples to the centrifuge, but before I do that, I need to find my notebook. My dyscalculia means that I always double-check the settings. Please excuse me while I run and fetch it.
筆記本。
This whole thing is covered in stains. I should check this out under the microscope sometime. Let's get back to the examination. We put all of the samples into the rotor.
係啊。大家知唔知咩離心機？離心機係佢係一部即係你擺咗呢個入去之後咧，跟住佢會咁樣啦。等陣先，我個筆記係 presence of alcohol in the blood time 15 minutes speed 70%。OK， 15分鐘70%。佢係可以揈，即係佢會揈嗰啲液體啦，跟住然之後佢就會將佢液體入邊嗰啲嘢分層啦。
Oh shit. The fuses again.
啊！進行毒物檢驗，酒精反應。咪復完啦！
but trusted centrifuge.
喂，好煩喎！個保險師搞咩啊？唔係，咁我要做啲咩先？佢係我想講咧，佢係即係嗰啲指示有啲含糊不清咯。我唔知呢個係佢嘅特色定係咩咯。因為我哋去搞掂個燈先。
Where were we? Oh yes, the blood alcohol concentration.
啊？啊？
Let's see what we've got here. Everything's separated as it should. Our lab is closed until tomorrow after the last, incident. However, considering that Toby's favorite eau de parfum appears to be ethanol, I'm guessing the results won't surprise me at all. Let's go further. We will now focus on the cardiovascular system, specifically the heart. We remove the organ and examine it closely. We look for dark hypoxic areas, clots, or other elements that stand out as abnormal. At first glance, the heart looks fine. The pulmonary trunk and aorta seem to be in good condition. There are no pathological changes that would have contributed to Toby's death.
Okay.
Now let's take a closer look at the stomach. Size is normal, healthy, pink color. And as expected, the stomach has no major external damage. We must now cut it open and inspect inside. We will do it carefully so that its contents do not spill out. We open the stomach along the greater curvature, from the heart to the pyloric end.
哇，有啲難呢個。
I already feel like there's something left inside.
唔係話佢飲酒咩？佢飲酒之餘，應該都可能會有食嘢。好。
Okay. Large amount of gas, small amounts of yellow, grayish food content, resembling some kind of meat. Either our deceased hadn't eaten in days, or the bulk of his stomach had already found a way out. Looks like I'll have to find the missing contents. There are two ways here. One is obvious, and the other is... It couldn't have been suffocation, could it? I'll add this to the list and move on to the deceased.
早晨啊，Wilken，我哋而家解剖緊第一條屍體，萬聖節快樂！檢查器官。
At first glance, the trachea looks normal.
唔好意思啊。
Same result as with the stomach. The external inspection doesn't tell us anything. This time we'll cut on a tray. While cutting such a small organ as the trachea, we must make a precise incision. To be able to cut with the very tip of the blade, we must hold the scalpel as we would a pen. And after careful examination and deduction, we've got it. A clogged trachea. It's time to summarize the whole thing.
哦，即係佢係窒息死嘅。
Based on the report and preliminary documentation, it's safe to assume that the deceased passed out after consumption of alcohol and then fell asleep on his back. Then, the gastric contents refluxed and flooded the airways, causing death. That's why we don't forget about the recovery position at dorm parties.
睇下先，意外啦。
The death was suffocation. Now, signature.
簽名要呢度。哦，我哋畫隻。
The mystery is solved. But for us, this is not the end. First, the dead body needs to be cleaned up.
簽咗啦。
For this, we will need to close the body and grab the needle. First, we unroll the skin flaps.
Unroll the skin flaps， 咁我哋唔使擺翻佢啲器官入去。唔緊要啦，我哋跟住佢個步驟先。好。
And then, we sew the deceased back up. I'm using the baseball stitch technique. This stitching method is very strong and quick to do.
好似釘書機咁咯，笑死。Okay.
Beautiful. Now we say goodbye to the deceased and put them safely in the fridge, ready for the next stage of their journey. God, I'm tired. I'll drop these samples off at the lab on the way to the bar.
Okay. 前往我停喺停車場嘅車。
I'll call Steven. I don't feel like drinking alone today.
我哋就完成咗呢個序章嘅解剖，比我想象中難。OK， 呢個應該係佢發夢，揭開肯定係佢老婆條屍。係，然後咧，呢個係不必要嘅驚嚇元素。呢個係我哋而家發緊夢，可以游水喎，我哋嚟啦！我哋被包圍了啊！好驚啊！我哋係咪要逃出生天啊？要點樣逃出生天？第一，我要繼續扮驚。好驚啊！好驚啊！笑死！笑死！唔知今晚可以玩到幾多？特登早啲諗住7點開咧，睇下可唔可以玩晒成隻 game 咯。我走啦，你哋。要撈好耐。有啊，洛神。置頂係禮拜一嘅事嚟㗎啦。唔舒服咯，跟住然之後入咗醫院，所以本身呢個禮拜一嘅台而家先開。好耐啊！有啲咩可以做 ？Chapter 1， 佢總共有幾多個 chapter 咧？佢有5個 chapter。
Forgive me。
係咯，我都覺得好似有啲難。我哋睇下可唔可以玩到呢個第3章咯。係啊。
Christ.
係啱啱好恐怖啊！好恐怖啊！OK， 再洗手間吃藥。
So much light everywhere. Some days, I just feel like setting fire to all this paperwork. I'm fed up with it. A pill a day keeps the defective Jack away. It's a shame these won't help with my hangover. The fucking phone. Okay. I know I'm late. I'll be there soon. It's not like the dead are impatient.
Jack, no.
Alice? Who is this?
It's Charlotte Graves.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. I thought it was work calling.
It's okay. I hate it when work calls me at home too. How is everything? We haven't talked since, you know.
Well, there are good days, and there are bad days. What can I say? At least I can hide away at work.
Well, you always were the most comfortable in the dissecting room. Listen, I have an unusual request.
Okay, how can I help?
It's nothing serious. I just wanted to ask, do you have any pictures of Alice? Maybe one where the two of us are together? I'd love to have something to remind me of her.
I guess. I'm not sure. I'll look through her things.
Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you with this. All this can't be easy for you.
I'll get through it somehow. I've been meaning to sort through her stuff for a while. Have you asked Stephen if he has anything?
Yes, I spoke with him this morning. He said he gave everything to their mother and that I should ask you.
I see.
Jack, I know you're trying. That you cope somehow. Stephen's there for you. Although, well, we all know how he can be. But, I mean, if you wanted to reminisce about Alice, talk.
I really should go now. I overslept, I'm late for work, and I still have some errands to run on the way.
Oh. Okay, sure. Sorry to keep you.
I'll look for something and send it over. Thanks for the call, and bye.
Oh, do you have my address?
Not on hand. You'd best remind me again.
292 Browning Lane, apartment 432, Johnson City, New York, 13790.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. It would mean a lot to me. Just miss her so much.
Yeah, me too. And that's okay. Really, no problem.
Thank you. Take care, Jack.
You too, Charlotte. It was nice to hear you. Well, that was a bit unexpected. I should probably find something to send.
揾一張愛麗絲嘅照片和信封。
Menu for today: dinner in town and takeaway coffee. The remnants of last night's binge with Stephen. I'm not sure if it's still edible. I'm not in the mood for music lately.
先。
They certainly have more will to live than I do.
我哋去呢間房係咩嚟？哦，呢個係門口嚟嘅。我哋去揾一揾先，呢個廁所應該冇啦。 信封呢度有。
Some days, I just feel like setting fire to all this.
Oh.
It's always good to have something for a rainy day. I wasn't able to support her through this. Till death do us part. It was a miracle that the coffee didn't wash off the writing. And that she said yes. Alice and Charlotte in Amsterdam. It's hard to believe they've known each other for so long. These were from Thanksgiving. Stephen invited me. I was going to give them to his mother, but then I met Alice. That was the first time I saw her.
Oh, 阿青嗰邊嘅觀眾，萬聖節快樂啊！係呢個山長毛女島江尼。今日而家玩緊呢一個驗屍模擬器。
Okay, time to go to work. I'm seriously late.
好，我哋返工了。
I should grab some coffee and aspirin. Oh shit! Almost left the door open.
哦，我要閂返獨門。
These fluorescent tubes are brutal.
我哋係咪要落到地下？啊，原來有 lift 搭㗎。下先，停車場。唔係喎，佢話要把信投入呢個油桶喎。油桶喺邊度？同埋我哋冇得跑咯，我想講有啲慢。咩事啊？個字幕咧發生咩事？睇下先。搞咩個字幕？好 bug 啊！呢個 game 呢隻 game 有啲 bug 啊。油桶喺邊度㗎？有得跑可以行快啲啊嘛，佢個節奏有啲慢咯。應該唔係呢邊，佢擋住我哋，唔俾我哋行。呢度。
I hope this helps, Charlotte. Okay, all done here. Time to go.
Hello， 早晨啊，Hasegawa。做咩？我想講咧，男主成日都幻聽咁咯。我嚴重懷疑啱啱喺解剖室嗰度咧，閃嗰啲燈都係佢幻聽。要行邊啊？你又唔同我講要行邊？咪呢架車好似唔係，係呢架。
Damn, I forgot my jacket. Well, I'll brave it for tonight. Too bad.
點解佢朝早揸車，但係佢揸車揸到呢個工作嘅地方咧，係變咗夜晚，有啲不解，不過唔緊要啦。檢查信息。
Good evening, Mr. Ridley.
The timesheet handman.
考勤單。
Some corpses have more personality than this guy. Christ. Who leaves the window open in the middle of November? So I'd better check the answering machine.
Hi, Jack. I dropped by a little early today. I left the body with Ridley in the corridor. He wasn't sitting in the locker then, so maybe he'll even throw him into the room. Well, how are you doing? I mean, it's your first birthday without her, and... This, I still have a hangover, and you know me, I run to the John like the neighbor's fucking dog. You know, today I slipped on his shit again. That fucking furball. He always has to shit next to my car. Anyway, I can't come over in the evening, but we'll catch up on the weekend, okay? Bye. I almost forgot. Charlotte called me this morning. She asked about you, so answer your calls, Jack. This time it's not a reprimand for being late.
That's par for the course. I wonder when this clown will learn to look under his feet. Birthday. I actually forgot it was today. Alice baked me muffins
大家2
like
月
these.
嗰個咧 Any Territory 咧，我會
A treat for
參
later. I
有
always crave
攤
something
位。
sweet after a
你哋
section.
會想要朱古力 cupcake 定係話朱古力曲
Joke's
奇
over.？Apron, gloves.
好，我哋要開始我哋今日嘅工作。OK。2月，等先啊，俾我睇一睇。月頭嚟嘅應該係，睇下先。我淨係報咗1日㗎咋，2月8號咯，應該2月8號。咩係冬青糕？冬青糕唔係茶嘅咩？即係你有嗰啲。
Man, I remember you. You were on that talent show. What was your name again? I need to order another batch of these. I've got to remember to do that. And that's the whole point.
冬青糕唔係茶魚嗰啲咩？
Steven laughs at me for recording everything. He says I have a bigger collection of stuff like this than most of the creeps he's caught.
Okay.
November 21st, 1991. Time, 9:13 p.m. The autopsy is conducted by Jack Hanman. Lecture for the Medical University of Missouri. After yesterday's lecture, you should already know the ins and outs, so today we'll be consolidating our knowledge. So, where do I start? That's right, police folder.
Oh.
Ah, yes, Samantha Barker. Now remember, there's probably gonna be a lot of chatter about this.
Superstar talent show winner Samantha Barker.
When questioned, friends admitted that Samantha's last days before losing contact seemed extremely happy and relaxed. She also quit drinking alcohol and mentioned something about rehab. The friend also admits that there was no indication of an impending tragedy. After her first album became a commercial success, she was hit with a creative drought. She suffered panic attacks and severe sleep problems. Drugs and medication came into play. The deceased was found in her own apartment, in a semi-recumbent position on an armchair. Large quantities of alcohol and empty packets of sleeping pills were also found in the apartment. During the interrogation, a friend of the deceased admitted that Samantha never got to grips with the sudden fame
應該係自殺咯，
winning
咁
such a high-profile
睇
talent
咁多
show.
呢個外表證據嚟講，似係自
Found in
殺。
her own apartment by police patrol. Officers were called by a concerned friend of the deceased, who had been unable to contact Barker for several days. Well, let's see what settled this matter. As you can see, the body is fully clothed. Therefore, before we move on to photographic documentation, we must remove the clothes.
希望
This
佢有
time,
打碼。
we don't have to focus on the clothes too much. However, there are cases where a clothing analysis can lead to the cause of death. Okay, now we
nice.
can continue with the examination. Again, begin by taking photographs of the cadaver. I guarantee that over time it will cease being embarrassing for you. First, we photograph the whole body. And now, any suspicious-looking marks or wounds.
條頸嗰度。
Interesting. Very uneven. We need to investigate
唔得
this.
㗎，一定要打碼。
You don't get such bruises from a normal contusion.
啱啱睇咗冇打碼嘅。
I've seen this
唔
many
知啊，
times.
但係我係即係我個 channel 係唔知，我都有啲驚，所以我都係打碼。
Well, there's even more here.
先呢度
A few we will need to look into here.
唔打碼咪黃標咯。好，
Notes prepared. Time to take a closer look.
我哋由
Some
頭睇到
furrows
落
have
腳。
imprinted more strongly, others less, as if someone was,
呢啲應
undecided.
該係吊頸啊嘛，上有痕跡，
The
所以
number of bruises suggests that there may have been some kind of tussle. And here's something interesting. The skin of the deceased is covered with numerous blisters. Some of them are ruptured. Others still contain fluid residue.
嗯，
Such bruises are caused by either a very heavy blow or by some internal issues. More numerous blisters. We have some leads to investigate here. Let's write this down. On the neck of the deceased, we can see clear furrows, indicating that strangulation may be the probable cause of death. In general, such blisters usually appear in the case of mechanical abrasions, but due to the place of occurrence, this should be excluded. The most likely cause of such skin changes is the high concentration of
鼻
barbiturates
唾
in the body.
酸鹽類濃
Currently, it's difficult to say whether the bruises were the result of a beating or whether it could be some kind of internal bleeding.
嗯，
Although it's easier to have abrasions on your feet, but the number and size of the blisters suggest that it's probably a matter of barbiturate poisoning.
Given
the condition of the deceased, it's difficult to tell immediately whether the bruises were the result of a struggle or perhaps the result of iron deficiency. A severed spinal cord, trauma to the larynx, or trachea will verify whether the hanging was the final nail in Miss Barker's coffin. The examination with a UV lamp will dispel some doubts. Potential attackers could have left traces. To be checked in the lab later. After examining the organs, we can easily verify whether there was internal bleeding or whether the deceased was suffering from something. I'll add barbiturates to the list of necessary tests. Given the testimony of the victim's friend, I add alcohol poisoning to the list of potential causes of Miss Barker's death. A blood test will no doubt quickly verify that hypothesis. But first I'll check for I look carefully at the whole body. UV rays will reveal any traces. The area around the head is empty. The left hand seems to be fine. No marks. Right hand clean. Legs, there's nothing here. Well, nothing to surprise us here. Now gently, we take the deceased by the hand, and we check for rigor mortis. Again, the hand falls freely. After yesterday, you should know what this means. Since we don't have a definitive lead, we will examine all the key organs one by one. So, I'm starting the internal inspection. I dissect the skin of the deceased. And I proceed to deflect the skin flaps. Compared with yesterday's body, the deceased has only trace amounts of adipose tissue. Now for the ribs. What do we have here? Or rather,
個肺都係勁黑咯，我想
there's
講。
certainly no sign of internal bleeding. Sometimes regarding bruising, it doesn't take much. My wife was constantly banging into furniture, walking into door frames. It's a wonder she never broke anything. Before I disembowel the deceased, I will take samples for toxicological tests to determine the alcohol content in the
全部
body.
都係
I just need my
全部都係
syringe,
食
just to be
煙
sure.
㗎
All
咯。
done? I'll transfer these to the centrifuge. What was it? 15, 70, 10, 75? Maybe one day I won't need my notebook.
應該係15分鐘70% 吧。
Numbers have never been my strong point. It's probably why I regularly forgot birthdays and anniversaries. I'm lucky Alice always forgave me.
Hello.
Gently does it with this old thing. Handle with kid gloves. I'm starting the centrifuge. Let's see what results come out. The laboratory is already open, so...
又嚟。
Fucking hell! Ridley! Mr. Ridley! Where is
Okay.
he? The fuses need resetting. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. I swear there was a flashlight in here. Whatever. First the right, and then the left. And voila.
換去解剖。
What?
搞咩啊？啊條友又唔見咗。
What the? Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't I work in peace? Jack Hanman speaking.
Easy, why so rude?
Steve? Sorry, man. This place is falling apart, and Ridley won't even lift a finger to help. You just can't work here.
Did the centrifuge strip the fuses again?
Yeah, eventually everything's gonna go up in smoke.
係啊。
Look on the bright side. It's a free cremation with your autopsy.
Jesus, stop it. That shit pisses me off.
Okay, sorry, Jack. Anyway, I'm calling to ask how the autopsy's going. Soon there'll be journalists sniffing around for info, so we'd best be ready.
I'll whiz through this in a couple of hours. It doesn't look like a complicated case to me. More of a formality. The report will be available in the morning.
Sounds great. Thanks. Phew. How's your head?
Well, my head seems better than yours. On the way to work.
Holy fuck. Jack, turn on the radio.
What? What's happening?
Quiet.
A 3-car police convoy was involved in an accident near Pete's Bay Bridge while transporting prisoners to Orleans Parish Prison. At the moment, we do not know the exact number of victims or whether any of the convicts escaped. However, the scale of the accident indicates a large number of victims, possibly even fatal ones. Police are on their way to investigate the incident and secure the area. We know that the injured prisoners are on death row. The police were to transport them to their execution, which was to take place tomorrow morning. Many of them are very dangerous criminals. We will report on the matter on an ongoing basis, so stay tuned with us.
What? Steven, was Red Pete one of the passengers?
Oh.
He was, wasn't he? What if he survived?
Jack, I have to go. You want me on site?
What if he survived?
I gotta go. Talk to you later, okay?
Fuck.
睇嚟佢老婆
Pills.
類似
I need
係
my pills.
俾殺人魔
You heard him, Jack.
殺係
A
嘛？
serious accident. Lots of victims. He's definitely dead. Yes.
佢戴住手套食咯，好污糟啊！
Christ. I've got to get back to work.
Okay.
What?
搞咩？搞咩？係咁有啲不必要嘅驚嚇元素咯，我覺得呢隻 game。
Technical break. At least I know I can pursue a career as a janitor if I need to. My old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. Fucking hell!
我有啲唔係好想擰轉頭啊，大家。OK。咩事？
All right, let's see if we were able to get anything out of this piece of crap. And miraculously, yes.
早晨啊 Little。
The samples did spin. I'll transfer them to the chromograph in the lab.
檢體架借邊？即係又要出去。 係嘛？呢度。
All right, let's load this up.
呢度。
I placed the test tubes in the rack.
呢個。
Now, just take 5 milliliters from each. Precisely. And the next.
Stop.
Five more. we put the prepared sample into the machine.
呢支嘢你前排先用完。你唔係讀呢個，你唔係讀機電工程嘅咩？
The results indicate that the deceased did consume alcohol shortly before her death. However, this is not an amount that could cause poisoning leading to death. Just slight inebriation. I can return to the body and continue the rest of the examination. The chromatograph results show that we can eliminate alcohol poisoning from our list of potential causes of death. However, remember that alcohol can affect the functioning of the entire body. It disturbs the heart rhythm, accelerating its rate, and dilutes the blood, which may result in more severe bleeding in the event of an accident. Also remember that alcohol affects the metabolism of drugs in the liver, which I'll now look at in more detail. First, I'll pick up the syringe again. I'll take samples from the liver and the heart to test the concentration of barbiturates in the body.
Okay.
That's enough. I'll do the test later. I'd best not try my luck with the centrifuge right now. Now I removed the liver. No lesions. However, it is slightly enlarged. Perhaps it's a slight inflammation or drug-induced damage. It may also be the result of the deposition of substances from drugs. Let's check the weight of the organ. The weight is 1,300 grams. The liver is enlarged. I'll move on to a cross-sectional study. Perhaps the enlargement is the result of early cancerous changes. The blade glides through smoothly. I don't feel like I'm encountering any changes with an unusual structure. No steatosis or cirrhosis. The liver is actually quite clean inside. The liver is basically healthy. We already know that the deceased didn't abuse alcohol. The question is, what about drugs or other substances? I move on to the heart. Oh. At a glance, we can see signs of a heart attack. The deceased is definitely too young to have a heart attack due to natural causes. The liver is enlarged, not from alcohol poisoning, and the heart looks like it has collapsed. So, I guess we need to go to the centrifuge and check for these barbiturates. The last time I saw this kind of poisoning was a few years ago. I better check the data in my notebook. He was a middle-aged guy. He took his medication and forgot about it. So, he took another pill. He forgot again, and took another one. And another one. Until he took the last one. That's why it's better to have amnesic drugs in boxes labeled with the days of the week. This sort of thing rarely happens anymore. Doctors tend to prescribe benzodiazepines. They are safer, but still shouldn't be combined with alcohol.
10分鐘 75%。Okay.
All right.
$10 分鐘 75。
We close the centrifuge and pray that it doesn't trip anything again.
係咪要 lab 啊？
It looks like our luck is in. We can take the samples to the lab now.
Okay.
I wonder how she was able to get hold of these drugs. Okay, 2 samples this time. 6 milliliters each.
F 1 2 3 4 5 6 Hello， 我哋而家驗緊第2條屍。
Well, let's see how much of it we find. Nothing surprising. Significant amounts of phenobarbital metabolites of hepatic origin. Looks like I'll have to check the contents of the deceased's stomach. The tests showed that the collected blood contained enough barbiturates to cause cardiopulmonary collapse. The question now is whether it was an accident or a deliberate act. I'm proceeding to examine the stomach. Before extraction, I ligate the entire organ to prevent its contents from spilling out. Okay, I'm now cutting out the organ, which will move to the board for dissection. Normally, the stomach and intestines are full of surprises.
有啲難切呢個，呢個同啱啱第一個死者個胃有啲唔一樣。如果大家有留意的話，第一個嗰個人呢個胃冇咁脹咯，呢個係脹啲咯，呢個胃咩話？呢個係胃嚟㗎。Okay.
This time, we see remnants of undigested food and a dense mass of pills.
應該係自殺咯咁。
Length and width normal. No obvious pathological changes. Undigested drugs found in the stomach of the deceased. The direct cut lungs are normal. No lesions. The deceased's trachea is normal. Complete patent. The deceased's intestine is normal. No clear pathological changes. Abdominal cavity checked off.
萬聖節快樂！誒，仲要鋸開佢個頭，我仲以為唔使鋸添。
I make a cut to open the lid of the victim's skull and remove the brain.
但係伏嘅畫質容易啲畫咯。
Brain is normal, no obvious lesions. All right, I need to dissect it on a board.
我哋就咁掏空咗佢咯。
Using a knife, I carefully cut through the brain tissue. I peek inside a bit, and I don't think there's anything worth noting. As expected, the deceased's brain is in excellent condition. No discoloration or changes due to hypoxia. There is still the matter of the marks on the neck. They look superficial, but who knows? Maybe the spinal cord has been severed. I need goggles and a saber saw. I think the goggles were in the desk drawer. Oh, they're out there. Alice. Saw. I need saw. Fuck. I don't see it here. Oh. I know. I probably left it in the basement after its last cleaning.
OK， 睇下條友吞撲完翻嚟未先。
Mr. Ridley，
你而家就喺度。
It's in the social room.
Why is the key lying at the... If only he could put that much enthusiasm into his work.
笑死
Searching through this rubbish is more pathogenic than working with corpses. Please, may this be the last trip.
地下室喺邊度？我哋係咪要應該喺出邊啊個樓梯？唔係喎。
Fuck. Why did the prison convoy have to get into an accident? Jack, take a deep breath. Deep, pleasantly cool breath.
呢個係
Nearly finished
車
with the
庫。
autopsy. Then you can go home and rest.
哦，喺呢度。
I'll take the saw. Fuck! It's jammed! Doesn't anyone do maintenance around here? Damn hatch. Damn red Pete. Like never again. If only.
喂，真係五無特效喎！我想講。
It would be easier if I put things away properly. Damn student lectures and their fucking props.
我諗住今日可能玩到第3章，咁我哋下一集就可以玩埋剩低嗰3 章。
Clockwork, he's already sleeping.
笑死！係咯，呢個因為佢節奏真係好慢啊，但係真係五無特效咯。
Sorry for the short interruption. I hope you all took the opportunity to grab some coffee. And now that I have everything I need, I'll move on to revealing the spinal cord.
Okay.
The spine is removed. I can see that the spinal cord was not severed. This shows that apart from the marks around the neck, hanging didn't negatively affect the condition of the deceased. Ladies and gentlemen, almost over. Now, to sum up and tidy away the body. The direct cause of Samantha Barker's death was a heart attack resulting from an overdose of barbiturates. Traces found on the body suggest that the overdose was a deliberate act, following a failed attempt to hang herself. The autopsy found no evidence or genetic materials indicating that death could have been the result of an attack. Third-party involvement must be excluded. Autograph, and we can start sewing. In the 1950s and 1960s, the use of barbiturates for suicide was actually quite common. I think it was most talked about after the death of Marilyn Monroe. At home, it was a help and comfort. On death row, a farewell to the convicts. Well, we're done for today. Thank you for your attention. Tiring day. I can feel those hunger pains coming on. I guess I'll have to pick something up along the way. Gloves in the trash, leave the apron for cleaning. Now I can go. Camera. A nightcap will do me good.
唔識啦，個攝像機。
Good night, Mr. Ridley. The police will pick up the body and accompanying documentation in the morning.
Sure.
I guess there are actually two things in this world you can be certain of. Death and Ridley's reluctant attitude. Alright, maybe three things. My whiskey on the rocks when I get home.
Okay. 我哋趁佢 loading 嘅時候，我哋中間 break 下，想去洗手間。
So cold. I guess I should have brought my jacket to work. This block can be quite intimidating when it's so quiet. Almost there. Stephen didn't want to go out for a drink tonight, so I'll drink my whiskey in the company of my TV. Shit. I forgot the muffin. Well, Ridley will have a nice treat for the night. I'm sure he'll be his happy, thankful self tomorrow.
得啦。好，我哋繼續開車回公寓。OK， 我哋已經返到屋企啦。其實可唔可以搭 lift 咧？
What?
Ale?
What the fuck?
Oh.
But I locked it.
Oh
I'm sure of it.
no. 睇嚟嗰個乜鬼嘢紅魔彼得走甩咗。如果唔係，我哋就冇古仔睇，係咪？
Who the fuck did this?
唔好意思，我啱啱講錯咗，應該係玩到第二章，跟住然之後我哋就完啦。
They must have stolen the money.
睇下先，首飾盒。哇
Fuck! Great. That's all I need. What if it was Red Pete?
呢個時候唔係應該即刻報警咩？但係點解我哋個男主角明明係一個外科法醫，跟住然之後佢嘅 logic 係
I need my pills.
logic 係
I can't get
個
my thoughts
logic
together.
係應該第一時間睇下屋企有冇咩錢唔見咗咁樣。第一話係我嘅 logic 有問題嘅。如果屋企俾人搶，即係咁樣整到咁亂的話，我應該會第一時間即刻報警
Why did the
咯。
neighbors not report anything? I'm calling Stephen. Stephen?
Now, Jack, I told you, I'm going for a drink with you for another night in a row.
That's not why I'm ringing. Although I could do with one. Someone broke into my apartment.
What? Did anyone see anything? Have you called the police yet?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, no one contacted me. As for the police, I'm calling right now, officer.
All right. Do you want me to head around? Look for any trace evidence?
I don't know. No, I guess not. Honestly, I don't have the strength to deal with it right now. I just want to lie down.
Are you sure? Because it's no trouble at all.
I think so. I'm sorry. I just wanted to calm down a bit. I don't know. That's probably some stupid joke. Only money was stolen.
Money? From Alice's box? Oh, fuck. Listen, I can come over. I have the key. I'll drop by, do what I need to do, and you go get some sleep.
No, don't trouble yourself. Lately, I've been just so tired and distracted. I don't know. Maybe I forgot to close the apartment door on my way to work. If anything else is missing, I'll let you know and call the police.
All right. Just make sure you close it tonight. If you see anything weird tomorrow, let me know. Whoever did this may be watching you.
I don't think anyone is dumb enough to come back.
You're probably right. Take care, Jack. If you need anything, call me.
I promise I will. Thanks, Stephen. Sorry to bother you again. I've just been all over the place lately.
It's not a problem. Good night, Jack.
Good night.
我記得我哋今日出門之前，我啱啱行出去，跟住我冇閂門，跟住然之後特登閂咗嗰個門佢。
What?
佢有特登提我翻轉頭閂門嘅。
I guess I should clean this shit up. Where to start? Shit. The glass in this thing needs to be replaced.
Jack, why?
Ugh, I think I'm just tired. I'm glad this didn't break. To be honest, I could leave it like this. There you go. I still don't understand why Alice liked this painting so much. Maybe I could barricade the door with this. I should pack this thing away. I have no interest in DIY at the moment. Now I'm sure I won't get caught up in these papers. Alice's family should really have some of these. That's enough for now. Jeez, I'm exhausted. I'll get the rest in the morning. What a mess. Now if only I could blame this on the burglars. Oh yeah, I should take my pills. I feel like it takes me forever to finish these things. That's enough. It will never look clean. I need to quickly change and finish getting ready. I'm gonna be late for work again. Got my keys, got my files. Check. Time to go. Remember to close the door properly, Jack. I'll ask the neighbors tomorrow if they saw anything suspicious. I wonder if Ridley fixed the coffee machine. Huh?
問號？啊？ 吓？吓？吓？唔是很明。吓？吓？咩啊？我啱啱唔係撳咗呢層嘅咩？但係點解我嚇？唔係呢層係 F 嚟㗎嘛？唔係好明喎都。唔係3樓，我哋住喺3樓啊嘛，咁我哋落 F 咪啱咯。我諗應該有啲難咯，因為佢要做記錄噶嘛。係冇嘢啦 ，F 係隔 lift 可以去到嘅最低層，應該係嘛？跟住我哋就要再落樓梯。第一話佢係特登噶。我記得我啱啱即係我哋啱啱搭車翻嚟嗰陣，明明我哋都係喺呢度直接搭 lift 上3樓噶喎。點解咁得意？
Maybe a bit optimistic. I'd better grab a coffee on the way. I'm exhausted.
搞笑咯！佢每一次咧，佢每一次由佢公寓出發到去呢一個地方咧，跟住都會由朝早變到夜晚咯。
Good morning, Mr. Ridley. No, he's not here yet. No, I'll do without him. I hope he. Oh, come on. He was too lazy to even wheel the gurney to the autopsy room.
Okay.
Almost there. Now for the tough part. The body needs to be moved. Where's Ridley when you need him? All right. I just need some gloves and my apron. Then I can get to work. I'm going to need my tape recorder for this. Autopsy dated November 22nd, 1991. 7:32 p.m. Led by Dr. Jack Hanman. I begin by verifying the identity of the Jane Doe. It's most likely Harper Lloyd, age 35. Found in a well-owned house by her neighbors Leonard and Dorothy Chelsea. Reported missing for a week. Firefighters found the body after the Chelsea family began complaining that their tap water tasted strange, and at one point had begun to smell and turn a dark color. Police records also show that Mrs. Lloyd was in constant conflict with her neighbors. The constant parties and subsequent brawls made living in the area nearly impossible, especially when Lloyd's partner wasn't around. The last person who had contact with the deceased was her partner. Harper's last message read as follows. I'm gonna take a shit in their stupid well. Then we'll see who has the last laugh. Nice one. It is also known that the deceased was diagnosed with affective bipolar disorder. Harper was placed on drug therapy, which she dropped out of fairly regularly. During her treatment, she was under the care of her common-law partner, Richard Benson. The most important task in forensic identification of a drowned person is to distinguish whether the death occurred before or after entering the water. Okay, that could have been worse. I carefully removed the victim's clothes so as not. The deceased was found. One shoe was missing. I'm going to need the camera to document all possible suspicious marks. Definitely the first thing that stands out is the very advanced post-mortem gigantism. The skin of the deceased appears very delicate, smooth, and relaxed from being in the water for a long time. The whole body is extremely pale. There are bruises and hemorrhages on the neck. These usually occur due to increased inhalation when fighting to breathe underwater. Post-mortem markings are seen on the underside of the body, that is, on the back, thighs, and calves of the deceased. It's likely that the deceased was lying on her back when she was fished out.
隻腳巢晒皮。
The so-called washerwoman's skin on the feet. The deceased had indeed been in the water for a long time. There are some obvious scratches on the skin. The skin on the hands can be easily separated from the body. The separation takes the form of a glove. So, after the preliminary exam, it's time to take a closer look at this. Today's date, the deceased was clothed. Rigor mortis does not need to be checked. Based on the state of decay, you can be sure it has subsided. Where to start? We see thick white foam in the mouth of the deceased, resulting from pulmonary edema. Foam is a characteristic in deaths due to drowning. There are obvious scratches on the skin, especially on the back and hands. These could be defensive wounds, evidence of some sort of altercation prior to death. The spots have a purplish blue-red hue, which is a typical sign of the death of the organism. Yep, pretty typical. Livor mortis are formed as a result of putrefaction of blood in the veins. No obvious signs of struggle. The skin on the hands would have easily peeled away from the flesh. Some of the fingers have already lost their nails. Due to the fact that the deceased was wearing shoes all the time, her feet are in better condition than her hands. Nevertheless, we can still notice a clear, wavy skin and the so-called washerwoman's skin texture. Okay, that's probably enough to indicate a direction for further examination. I'd better note that down in the records. Marks found on the neck and foaming at the mouth are typical signs of drowning people. Those abrasions appear relatively fresh. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual about this livor mortis. Hands heavily wrinkled from submersion in water. Typical diffuse spots are caused by blood rotting in the veins. Considering the deceased's penchant for drinking alcohol, it could have been a mere accident. In this case, the question is, was drowning an accident or of suicidal intent? Fortunately, their distribution, maybe it's just an abrasion, or maybe the result of a livor mortis of a different color could in a simple trip, loss of balance, and as a result, you end up in a deep hole. Before I begin the dissection, I'll make sure the suggested identity is correct. The suitcase with the fingerprint equipment should be around here somewhere. Oh, here, with decomposing bodies, the tissue of the pads and the fingers tends to shrink. If the body of the deceased is well preserved, the fingerprint sheet should always be checked. Slipping fingers, too much or too little ink, or inaccurate hand position can make fingerprints illegible. I'm going to conduct a dactyloscopic examination. If in fact the deceased is in the police database, I will find her. Glycerin is injected successively between the nail and the skin of each finger. The substance then enters the fingertip, removing shrinkage and wrinkles.
Okay.
Now I take a brush. Only when the skin is taut and elastic can you use ink.
OK 了吧？好似未 OK 啊，要游幾耐？佢唔俾我返回咯。哦，我知啦，我知啦。
I think it's enough. I'm getting fingered. In the case of drowning victims, you have to be extremely careful. The skin may fall off the hand like a glove when you take. I'll use the fax machine to add the print into the system.
傳真機。
Green button and... Once the data uploads, I'll run the prints against the police database on... Great. The data is there. Click upload. Now, go to the database and find a matching print. Expect possible hours of fun. One more. Analyze button.
好舊喎部電腦。
And we have a result. Everyone has a story to tell, even if it's just a police record. So, as predicted, the deceased turned out to be Harper Lloyd. That went smoothly. I'll print this out and attach it to the medical records. Great. Now we can go back to my inspection. I'm adding the name of the deceased. I'll start the internal examination by taking fluid from the victim's brain. A needle inserted through the nose will do the trick. If the victim was alive when she fell into the well, she must have swallowed water fighting for her life. And then diatoms, characteristics of pooled water like a well, got into the body. In the meantime, I'll check the sample under the microscope. I'm sure that these algae traces will be found in the samples taken from the well. Now I need to adjust the knobs properly and place the diatom in the center of the slide. And perfect. It's not a dirty lens. And perfect. The aperture's still... Oh, I'm finally starting to see something here. I won't even notice an army of diatoms from this distance. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae. As expected, we find the aforementioned algae in the solution. Their upper part, Epitheca, which overlaps the lower, hypotheca, is clearly visible. The presence of diatoms in the brain samples taken indicate that the deceased was certainly alive when she fell. Since there were diatoms in the brain, it means that many more of them must have entered the body. Studies of the rest of the organs will most likely confirm this hypothesis. I can finally get to the practical part. I must be extra careful because the skin of the deceased is very stretched. I wouldn't want an explosion here. You can immediately see a very large swelling of the organs. In addition, all internal organs are very congested. I proceed to remove the rib cage. It's easy to see that the ribs have been imprinted in the lungs. So, I'm going to start by drawing blood from the lungs for testing for diatoms. If diatoms were only present in the lungs, this would mean that the victim was placed in the well after death, and the perpetrator wanted to get rid of the corpse in this way. Now, I remove taking the lungs in my hand. I feel that the tissues have lost their elasticity, which is the result of water emphysema. In addition, there is significant swelling of the organs, and as a result, we have a nice imprint of the ribs. Corpses found in water are worth examining with a tomograph. However, I can't count on such luxuries, so I must reach for a more archaic technology. A bucket and water.
Oh, 唔係呢度。
Who has anyone been here? I hope no one dipped a mop in it. It's best to go to the lab for this. Historically, the lung float test is used to detect infanticide. The water should be at room temperature. That's enough. To test for this, I have to place the lungs in a container of water. This checks if there is air in the lungs. And speaking of lungs, everything is ready to bring them here. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, 呢個五無特效。
Of course, such a study isn't without flaws. Air may have entered a newborn's airways during resuscitation attempts. Gases released during decomposition could also... In this case, however, it's about something else. Namely, the amount of fluid in the lungs. To test for this, I have to place the lungs in a container of water and wait to see if they fall or if they will float on the surface.
Okay.
Just as I assumed, the lungs collapsed easily. Fluid could have entered the lungs during panic attempts to catch breath underwater, but it could also be the result of bacterial infections or cancer, so further investigation is needed. I move on to dissecting the lungs of the deceased. You can hear the distinct, very unpleasant crackling of the tissues being cut through. The parenchyma is remarkably pale, although small hemorrhagic foci and petechia are present on the surface. All right. Now, I will check the collected fluid under a microscope. If we find 20 diatoms on the slide, it can be considered drowning, and our result is not false positive. And perfect. I'm finally starting to see something here. I won't even notice an army of diatoms. Great. This way I'll see if I'm dealing with a large concentration of these algae. As expected. In solution, the diatoms are clearly visible. There are smaller and larger clusters of them. There will definitely be more than 20 of them. I'll make a note of all this. So far, this case looks pretty standard. It's clear from the beginning that it's drowning. Well, the procedure requires me to check up, so I move on to checking the other organs. I ligate the heart, and then remove it for strongly developed putrefactic hemolysis. The organ can be seen at first glance. Apart from that, I move on to the next organ. This time, it's the liver. It's immediately apparent that the deceased didn't care for the beginnings of cirrhosis are visible in some areas. I transfer the organ to a board and proceed to dissect. The cross-section clearly shows dilated veins and many small hemorrhagic foci. I must admit that this is quite a feat, considering the rather young age of the deceased. Harper enjoyed drinking so much that she might not have lasted a few more years. I move on to the stomach. I take a sample of the fluid for testing.
個胃唔係呢個咩？哦，注射器。
It looks very turbid. I'll see what happens after spinning, but that's in a moment. Now, I carefully ligate the organ, then cut it off. It's enlarged, probably full of putrid gases. I transfer it to the board and carefully open it, checking the contents. One thing you'd never get used to is how much this desk smells. Okay, the stomach is full of fluid and unidentified organic matter, which is probably so let's check the diatoms. Again. But in a centrifuge for a change. The problem with examining drowned people is being able to show whether the death was due to drowning or whether something else contributed to the death. Cramp, heart attack, drugs, homicide, or some accident. Such an analysis requires viewing from different angles and a careful interpretation of the collected data, including those from the field. That's why it's so important to collect it. Okay, this is one last little sample. Now set.
啊先，35分鐘，25%。35分鐘，25%。
Done. I'll run it directly into the chromatograph and run it against the data from the police. I'm certain the analysis will show similarities between the fluid and water in Chelsea's well. Let me think. 3 milliliters should be fine. Okay, now it's the chromatograph's turn. Yes, The water sample matches the one provided by the police. Well, the results are quite clear. I was hoping it would be a more interesting case. More diatoms. Analysis indicates the same origin. There's little left to do. I'm going... Interesting. Looks like there's something stuck in the trachea. I'm moving to the board for further inspection. I dissect the trachea and open the organ. Inside, I find a wedding ring. This is interesting. Let me look at it. Based on the size, I can say that it's a woman's wedding ring, quite standard from the outside. There's an engraving inside. What the fuck? But this is my ring. Alice's ring.
OK， 佢又進入呢一個。
How did it? But this should be at home. I have it. At home. It's I have to check this out. Where are my meds? Where the fuck are my meds?
我行過咗廁所。
Jesus Christ! Hope these all make it go away.
又戴住手套食藥咯。
I have to check the apartment. It can't be. Jesus Christ!
À, 好啦，我哋都係唔好去睇獨門啦。
Mr. Ridley. Mr. Ridley!
What's all the ruckus?
I need to go home. Immediately.
What? Now?
I have to. Jesus Christ! I have to check this out. This can't be real. Where is it? Where is it? Where? It's not here. It's not. I need to go.
Okay.
This is sick. Fuck. Come on, Steven. Pick up the fucking phone.
What's up, man?
They took the ring.
What? What ring? What are you talking about?
They took the wedding ring. Alice's wedding ring.
One sec. You mean burglary? You said nothing was missing.
Yes, I know that. I don't know. I was jittery. Maybe I didn't notice. I don't know, but that's not the worst of it.
Calm down, Jack. Breathe. What happened?
I found it in the trachea of the deceased I was working on. Do you understand? I pulled it out of a dead woman's trachea.
What?
I don't know what's going on. You think Red Pete wants revenge? He's playing with me. I knew it. I knew it from the beginning. This is going to happen. I didn't make it up.
Jack, listen to me. Try to calm down. Don't leave the apartment. I'll be with you right away, okay? I'm on my way.
What sane person would do something like that? How? And when? When the fuck? Fucking Ridley lets in whoever he likes as usual. What are you saying? Steven? Don't leave me, man. Come on. Fuck. Oh, God, what now? Okay, just calm down. Just calm down. I need a drink. Jesus. What's going on?
點解倒出嚟唔見有酒嘅？點解話係我嘅問題啊
？Just one sip more. Yep. Jesus.
我覺得個劇情有啲問號。係啊，國王的新酒。
Just one sip more. Okay.
Okay. 好啦，我哋剩翻嘅第3、第4同第5章就留翻下個台開啦。
I can't do it anymore. These reports will kill me one day. I'll have to finish it over the weekend. I should take.
下先。好，劇情模式 Dead Memories 。我哋今日就嚟到呢度先。翻返嚟呢個雜談房先。好啦，咁樣呢，就多謝大家。萬聖節，都嚟睇我嘅台啊！咁然之後下個禮拜嘅時間表呢，我就整咗大概係咁樣啦。禮拜一會玩一隻叫做咩話？霧雨咩話？霧雨降臨之心啊，好似叫係同呢個殺戮的天使係呢個同一個同一個人同一個作者，跟住禮拜3就我哋開咗健康反省大會，我哋嚟幫我自己定制一下時間表，即係我諗住規定下自己幾多點要瞓啊，幾多點要係咯，幾多點要瞓覺，跟住然之後幾多點要做啲咩咁樣啦。跟住禮拜5就歌集啦，應該可以點歌嘅練歌台咯，補翻之前嗰個台都係，因為之前我病咗，係啊，又係病咗，所以就冇咗個台。咁樣咧有啲咩特別要宣傳嘅咧？就其實咧，等陣先，不如我轉呢個，我轉翻嚟呢個畫面。咁樣咧就聽日就會有一隻原創曲係首播嘅，睇下先。咁樣咧 link 啊嗰啲嘢咧，我就已經 po 晒喺 Twitter 同埋 DC 噶啦。喺呢度睇下先，好似有啲落嗰個畫面，有啲太過落。咁樣啦，咁就會聽晚嘅7點啦，就首播啦。咁就希望到時大家會嚟聽，係啦。 都係花咗好耐時間噶啦，呢首歌都已經即係由呢個開始錄音到製作，都已經花咗好耐時間，係咯。希望大家會 enjoy， 就係咁啦。好啦，睇下先。今日唔 rate 台啦，我今日嚟到呢度先啦，我哋。咁我哋就下個禮拜見啦，祝大家萬聖節快樂！我啱啱咧註冊咗嗰個 AV 叫咩 AVA Lab 嗰個咧，睇下可唔可以整到張河圖出嚟咯。整唔切嘅話就冇啦，就今日就係咁多啦。好啦。